This video is all about words for large amounts of something. So rather than using words like it was big or there were lots of something, you can look for a more specific word that describes the very thing that you're talking about. Knowing these words is also going to help your comprehension and any work on synonyms and antonyms so that you know whether they're talking about a large amount of something or a small amount. We've got two parts of the video today. So the first one, we're going to go through some words that will hopefully be quite new to you and their definitions. And then we're going to go through some pictures with sentences that accompany them and try to use the words that you've just learnt to fill in the sentences. So you can play along with that at home, and I'd recommend writing down the definitions that I'm about to go through because it will help you to remember them. Okay, let's jump in. We have 6 words here, all of which mean a large amount of something. I'll just go through them for pronunciation. We've got vast, swathe, myriad, torrent, mass, and panoply. Note that said panoply because it's very tempting to say it like it rhymes with monopoly. It doesn't, so just panoply. Let me know in the comments if any of these words are new to you, and if they are, also give this video a like so then I know that you've learnt something from it. So let's get into the definitions. I've got some example sentences for vast so that maybe you can start to see how it's used. We've got the family moved to a house with a vast field behind it, and the vast majority of people agree that COVID is real and not a conspiracy. Conspiracy is one of the words that we've used in our recent live vocab sessions. It means a secret plot. So that example sentence, the vast majority of people believe that COVID is real and not a conspiracy. And the first sentence mentioned a vast field. So vast is often used with areas of land, and then it's often used as a collocation, so 2 words that go together, with majority. So we say the vast majority of people. That means not just a majority or most people, but nearly all the people. So if one person voted for one thing and 9 people voted for something else, then you could say the vast majority of people agreed. So our definition here is vast is very large in size or area. Now swathe can be used similarly to vast, and actually they can be used together. It's another collocation, so we can say that vast swathes of something. For example, fires in the Amazon destroyed vast swathes of rainforest. You could also say, beyond the bridge were swathes of countryside. So you see how we can use that for areas of land as well. And so just to emphasize how large something is, you could say vast swathes of it. So you can use it for land, and you can also use swathe for material. So if you have lots of a material, you can talk about swathes of material. So there are 2 definitions that we have for swathe. We've got 1, a wide strip or area, or to wrap something in several layers of material. The first one is using swathe as a noun, and the second one is using it as a verb. On to myriad. Though I've got a little bit of a clue here so you can see how this is used. Myriad actually comes from the Latin for the number 10,000. So when we talk about myriads of something, it's like we practically have 10,000 of it. So myriad, the meaning is a countless or great number of things. Myriad, a countless or great number of things. You'll see how we can use that in a sentence later. Remember, if you are having trouble keeping up with writing these down, you can always pause this video, catch up, and then press play. And don't forget to press like if you've learned something new already. Okay, a torrent. Now, usually a torrent relates to a large amount of water. For example, the riverbank was not strong enough to hold the torrent of water, so a violent rush of water is coming. But we can use torrent to describe other things. For example, Ofcom, which is who you complain to if you don't agree with what's on the TV, Ofcom received a torrent of complaints about the TV presenter's outfit. So a torrent of complaints. You can imagine those complaints flooding in like water. You can also say she received a torrent of abuse. So abuse is when you treat someone badly. You can have verbal abuse when you say mean things to them, or physical abuse when you hurt them, like you hurt their body. So if you had a torrent of abuse, then someone was saying a whole load of mean things. So again, it's like a flood of mean things coming out of their mouth. So we don't want that. So the definitions for torrent You can have a strong, fast-moving stream of water. So when we're actually using it with literal water, like in a stream, so a strong, fast-moving stream of water, and let's put a comma in there actually, strong, fast-moving stream of water. And the second one is an outpouring or flood of something. So often we use it for an outpouring of words. So that's torrent, a strong, fast-moving stream of water, or an outpouring or flood of something. Okay, on to mass. So we can use mass for a lot of people or objects, often that are like crowded together, bunched together so they almost look like one thing. We've got an example sentence. So the villagers were confused when a mass of cyclists came rolling down the country lanes. So in this case, the cyclists would be like close together, a huge group of them, and they all come at once. So the definition here, mass, a large number of people or objects crowded together. And you'll see an example of that in our images that are coming up. Right, panoply is a word that comes from the Greek. So the prefix here, pan, that means all. That's why we have the word pandemic, actually, because that means that a disease has spread all across the world. It's affecting everyone. So when you see the prefix pan, and not like a pan in your kitchen, but used as a prefix, then it means something is affecting all of a group. Now let's talk about our example sentences. So we have the children peered out of the bus window to take in the panoply of London sights. And then the city had a panoply of activities from museums to theatres, so you could never be bored. So a panoply of activities and a panoply of London sights. Sights, by the way, are just exciting things to see. So you can tell from these example sentences that panoply is a wide range of something when you've got lots to do, lots to see. So let's write down the definition. Panoply is an impressive or large collection. So if you collect something, you may show someone your panoply of football cards even, if it's a very impressive collection and a very large collection. And then it can also mean a splendid display. So something that is exciting to see, a display of lots of different things. All right, so before you go on to the next part of the video, make sure you've written down those definitions, and remember you can pause, and then let's get into our pictures. Now, as you can see, this picture shows a great display of lots of different types of lampshade. The sentence is, a something of lampshades dangled from the ceiling. And we've got some of the words that we had before, and a new one's crept in, profusely. Profusely is when you have lots of a liquid, and we particularly use it for lots of blood or lots of sweat. So remember that because you'll need it in a future slide. Now, why don't you have a look at these words, maybe look back at the definitions from before, pause the video and see if you can figure out which word should go in this sentence. So, a something of lampshades dangled from the ceiling. Now, the best word for this sentence would be myriad. A myriad of lampshades dangled from the ceiling. Remember, myriad used to mean, in Latin, it meant something to do with 10,000. So you've got a countless number of objects here, a myriad. In this next one, we have some water flowing off a cliff. So a something of water cascaded over the cliff edge. And can you remember which word had to do with a violent stream of water? It was torrent. So a torrent of water cascaded over the cliff edge. Cascade means to fall down. The word torrent may also remind you of the word torrential. Some of you may have heard that before. So sometimes we say there is torrential rain outside. That's when rain is very, very heavy and fast flowing. So we have a torrent of water, you can see there, and you can see how violent it is as it splashes up from the bottom. Okay, on to the next one. So Hermione was delighted by the something of books that lined the library walls. You can see loads of books here. There's so many they won't even fit in the picture. So Hermione was delighted by the something of books that lined the library wall. Which word was it that meant you have a large and impressive collection of something? Have a think. Maybe look back at your definitions if you're having trouble. And I'm going to tell you now, it was panoply. She was delighted by the panoply of books that lined the library walls. I'd say that counts as a large and impressive collection. Right, now we've got lots of material, or this could also be called fabric. So it's a very light, beautiful fabric here. And in the sentence, we've used the word ethereal. Now, ethereal means light and delicate. That's another word that we've covered recently in our live sessions. So I'd say this material counts as light and delicate. So we can learn 2 new words in this. So the women were surrounded by something of ethereal turquoise fabric. The women were surrounded by something of ethereal turquoise fabric. Which of those words did we say could be used for a large area of material or fabric? Have a think. You can pause if you want. If you don't want any spoilers. Okay, that was swathes. They were surrounded by swathes of fabric. Lots of it around them. Next we have a man that is sweaty because he's been running a marathon. So the runner was sweating something by the end of the marathon. Now I did mention to you that we'd need one of these words for lots of a liquid like blood or sweat. That word was profusely. He was sweating profusely. Those are 2 words that we often use together, so another collocation, sweating profusely. Someone's dripping with sweat, you'd use profusely. Now we have a huge crowd of people packed together. There was a particular word that we use for people, especially when they're crowded. So the example sentence here is, the concert ended and a something of people headed for the exits. The concert ended and a something of people headed for the exits. That would be, pause if you don't want to know, it would be a mass of people. That's one we use quite often in the English language, a mass of people. So you can use that when you are describing something that has this many people in one room pushed together. And now our final image. Now this auditorium here has pretty much all of the seats filled, but there are a couple that are empty. So we need a phrase that means almost everyone or most of the people. So the sentence here is, the theatre was able to fill the majority of seats for the event. I forgot to pause. So the theatre was able to fill the something majority of seats for the event. So not just majority, but even more than that. And there was one particular word here that we often use with majority, and that was vast. They filled the vast majority. So there are a couple of seats empty, but not many at all. So those are our words for today. Try and use these words in a sentence. As always, in the comments, I would love to hear your sentences that use these words, so put them in there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you're told when the next vocab video is coming out, because there will be another one soon. Why not keep the learning going by checking out another one of our videos? On the left, you can go onto a maths video if you are sick of vocabulary for the day, or if you want to keep going with vocab, then click on the video on the right. See you next time.